Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Mount Mindset. Now, this is a video that I would have loved to have seen 16, 17 years ago because something was happening to me then that I couldn't figure out. And to give you a bit of context, I was getting bursts of really creative, really strong flow state, and things were working extremely well, but it wouldn't last. And I couldn't fire it on demand. I couldn't get it to fire up. That led me to think, how do I capture this? And the analogy that I give to explain what it feels like if you've got a lighter, and if you've got a lighter and you click the lighter and it sparks, but it doesn't get a flame, and you keep clicking, and eventually it lights, and then you get the most magnificent flame from this lighter. And then you try it again, it doesn't work, you need to keep clicking it. That's what it was like for me when I was trying to do this process called manifesting or visualization. Now, where did this all begin and why do people struggle with it? And that's what I'm going to help you answer today. Because if you've ever tried any of this, there's a huge variety of opinions on how effective it is if it's nonsense, if it's just hocus pocus or pseudoscience, or there's people that absolutely swear by it. So how can you get such a wide gap? How is it possible that something is so divisive? Opinions are so spread, and what does it actually mean? And when you look into it, you find that there is way more forces at work. And there's some interesting thoughts in why this process has had a few players that know how to use it have swayed people away from figuring out how to use it well. And to give you some context on why that might be a thing, I'll go back to where it started for me. So in 2006, there was a book called The Secret written, and there was a movie by the same name, and it was released or written by a lady called Byrne. And the premise of the book, The Secret, is that it was called The Law of Attraction. So the book and the movie go on to explain that the secret that you need to know is that how to attract things in your life. And if you want to manifest things in life, manifest meaning that these things are drawn to you and they appear, they manifestly happen, then all you needed to do is to use this secret. And the process of the Law of Attraction is that if you thought about or focused on a particular thing or visualized a particular thing, and it could be a result, an outcome, something material, whatever it was that you desired, that all you had to do was ask the universe. And if you asked the universe, it would provide for you. And there's been many proponents of how to do this. If anyone's done self-help books, they'll know or have heard of Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Dr. Wayne Dyer, to name but a few. There's also over the course of history, people have mentioned how they've visualized things. People like Albert Einstein, famous artists, also the inventor Nikola Tesla. He said that things would just drop into his mind like a download, and he could visualize experiments and how they would work, how these inventions would take place. So how do you get such a widespread? On one hand, you've got this book that's telling you there's this hidden secret, but it appears that people have been using it and getting results. And then on the other hand, you've got this group of people that are saying, look, it's cockwash, it's just nonsense. And that's where we're going to get to the bottom of this today. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a little interesting look up on The Secret, and I'm going to read what that says, and I'm going to analyse and break down the language of what is being said in this description, because I think it's quite telling. It seems that it's written in a particular way, and then you read further on down and it seems to be pointing at a different outcome or a different point of view from what the article initially suggests. So to give you an idea, I looked up the Wikipedia page on The Secret, and it goes on to say that The Secret was a 2006 self-help book by Rhonda Byrne. The earlier film was released in the same name. It's based on a pseudo-scientific belief of law of attraction. Pseudo meaning it's made up. It's it's not scientifically backed, and it's just sort of a made up kind of hocus pocus idea. So it says that it claims that thoughts can influence an objective in someone's life The book alleges energy as an assurance of effectiveness, meaning that energy is everywhere and all you need to do is create thought and things will happen in your life. It goes on to say that the book had a massive success because it sold 30 million copies worldwide and been translated into 50 different languages. So not bad numbers for something that's considered just hocus pocus by some. It goes on to say that scientific claims made in the book have been rejected by a range of critics who argue that the book has no scientific foundation. So that's pretty damning. They're essentially saying, hey, look, this book is read by millions of people. The film's been watched by millions of people. They're all through history and time. There's been people that have commented on their experiences with using visualization, but this book is getting shot down in flames. So interesting that it seems to be, somebody's got to be right here. You can't be total nonsense and then people are getting results. So which one is it? So it goes on to say that the book reintroduces a popular notion, popularized by a few previous authors, and it says that when the art of thinking will start to create things in people's lives. So Byrne goes on to provide examples in history who people have allegedly achieved this. So we've covered that off, where some people in the past have done that, and there's also authors and self-help people that have went out into the field with thousands, if not tens of thousands of people, and carried out these things. These people reporting life-changing things are happening to them when they're using these techniques and these practices, because what they're doing is implementing a technique, and that technique is then developing this skill. And this is what I mean. I would have loved to have had this the information that we're going through now. I would have loved to have had sort of 16, 17 years ago, because I was doing this after reading the book The Secret, and it was driving me crazy, because I would get an amazing result and then I would go off the boil, and then I couldn't figure out what I was missing or what I was lacking. And this is, we're going through what was explained then, and we'll cover off what I was missing. And then more importantly, we'll get to how you should actually use it, but more on that later. So it says that Byrne highlights the importance of gratitude, visualization in achieving one's desires, along with alleged examples. The later chapter describes how to improve one's prosperity, relationships and health, and more general thoughts about the universe. She also cites a 3-step process: ask, believe, and receive. Very catchy. And this is based on a quotation from the Bible, nonetheless, of Matthew 21:22. Quotes, "Whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive." And that's loosely connected to Byrne's process of ask, believe, and you will receive, which is get the thought in there and believe that it will happen, and then it shall materialize. So is it all hocus pocus? The reception was, fairly varied for someone that, someone that's doing apparently pseudoscience. It caught the world by storm. So it said that partly due to the appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show, the book had grossed over 300 million in sales, the book and the film combined, by 2009. So, I mean, a blockbuster hit, considering that it's apparently just nonsense. The critical response: Oprah Winfrey, the famous TV show host, says that she is a proponent on the book. The Larry King Show said that the secret is the message that he's been trying to share on her show for the past 21 years. So Oprah has been trying to share this with the world. Byrne later invited her on her show. So Byrne was later invited on Oprah's show to share the experiences of people who swear by the secret. And then it goes on to say, on the other side of it, Mark Manson, who wrote the book The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, is one of the harshest critics, because he, on the other end of the scale, goes on to say, the writing in the book is full of misplaced cliches, silly quotes, superstitious drivel, and calls it a playbook for entitlement and self-absorption, which anybody who reads it and implements its advice will likely make themselves worse off in the long run. So savage review from Mark Manson there. So Jack G. Stackhouse Jr. provided historical context, locating Byrne's book in the tradition of New Thought, popular religion, and concluding, it isn't new and it isn't a secret. Goes on to say, Byrne's scientific claims, in particular concerning quantum physics, have been rejected by a range of authors, including Christopher Chabris, Daniel Simmons of the New York Times, and Harvard physicist Lisa Randall. Mary Carmichael and Ben Radford, writing for the Centre of Inquiry, have also pointed out that The Secret has no scientific foundation, stating that the Byrne's book represents a time-worn trick of mixing banal truthisms with magical thinking, presenting it as some sort of hidden knowledge, and basically it's the new thought. So wild differences here. And it got me thinking, and it took me a lot of years, because I went back and forth with this sort of thing, partly because I was getting frustrated. I mean, it was very, very frustrating that you would have this hit or miss. But one of the things that stood out to me is that there was a group of, in my mind, there's a group of people that have used it and had great success and swear by it. On the other side, you've got groups of people who say it's nothing but nonsense and should be ignored. And then you've got some people in the middle that are sort of getting some results and think there might be something to it, but they're getting pulled from either side. So it's difficult to make up your mind. It's difficult to figure out what's true. So, you know, it got me thinking, and in its basic terms, will you get something? Like, will you get a result if you don't think about it? What's the answer, yes or no? The answer is obviously no. You won't. If you don't focus on what you're doing, anything that happens to you is mostly by chance. So is there an element of, if you want to achieve something in life, do you need to think about it? Well, simple answer is yes. Absolutely you need to. And, well, that seemed straightforward and common sense. And then even looking around here, like this mic, before this mic was created, someone had to have that thought. They had to think about it before they could invent something. So the act of thinking and manifesting this microphone and this mic arm and this table and the camera that we're on now was a thought in someone's mind at some point in time before it came into existence. So things need to be thought about before they're manifested in reality. That seems really straightforward, and I don't think there's an argument that that isn't true. Okay, so is there any truth in this thing called The Secret? So one of the things that you find, and one of the things that has been bandied about is that there's been this tradition of occulted knowledge. So things of the occult are secret or known to a few and not known to many. And when you have occulted knowledge, there's all sorts of smoke and mirrors and cloak and daggers. Is there any truth to it? And there's a guy who is out there that does a lot of seminars called Mark Passio. He's got great videos where he is on the likes of YouTube, and one of the videos that is in there is he explains the lost hermetic principle, and he goes on to explain that essentially the occult traditions know the master key to the universe, how the universe works, how the laws work. And one of the things that was interesting about Mark's video that caught my attention was that he explains why the New Age movement, the New Age thought, is not working for most people, i.e. things like the law of attraction and The Secret. Why are people not getting the result, and why is there a path to hide this knowledge? And that's what he's explaining. He's explaining that the knowledge is hidden from you, because if you hide the knowledge, if you imagine you have a group of people or the population of the world, and a small group know exactly how to do it and the masses don't know how to do it, it creates a power differential, meaning that people can get an advantage, and they would keep that hidden from the masses. And the New Age movement is trying to get that message out, but they're not telling the whole story. So Mark Passio goes on to explain that there's a lost hermetic principle. We've covered the hermetic principles before. There are 7 principles that dictate the law of the universe, and they go on to explain that, you know, how the universe is constructed and how we balance things, how nature has a natural law. But interestingly, that's something that, you know, you can. It's interesting, but it's difficult to apply. But the 8th lost principle that he explains, which is the one that's hidden, is actually quite interesting, and it is what I would think would be the missing piece as to why visualization and manifestation is powerful, why it's hidden, and why people are having difficulty using it. And what Mark Passio explains is that the art or the creation of things in the universe all comes from thought. And that would make sense. 100% that would make sense, because what it's explaining is that you need to think of it first. So the art of thinking is the very beginning of anything that you want to achieve. Now, if I was out there and I wanted to achieve a goal or a dream or an outcome or a result or improve my life, or I wanted to get fitter or faster or stronger or more confident or more attractive or whatever it is that you desire, then what you need to do is you need to put attention on it. You need to put focus. And how we do that as humans is we put our thoughts on it. And what he explains is that what they don't teach you in the New Age movement is that you do need thought. So the book was correct that you do need to think, but what it's missing is the connection to thought is action. So without thought, you can have thought, but without action, nothing is going to happen. And this was the big thing that The Secret went on to explain, and where a lot of people found it easy to shoot it down, which was The Secret, if you remember, was ask, believe, and receive. So all you didn't put any action in there. What it was ask the universe for it, believe that it will happen, and it will materialize. At no point did it bring in the other component part, which was when you think about it and there's an opportunity to take action, you take that action, and that is the cause of creation. That's the source of creation. When you think and align that with action, with your thoughts, the outcome that you want, and what you're manifesting, and what you visualize in the future, what could be, just like this boom arm, just like this desk, just like this camera, every single thing, regardless of whether it's putting a new kitchen in your house, or moving to a new house, or that new job, or fitting in that dress, or building a great physique, you need to have a vision of what it is that you like. Otherwise, everything's just a chance. So bringing it back round to what Mark Passio was saying is, hey, look, if you really want to get something in your life, you need to visualize it. You need to have a vision of what it's like. You need to create it in your imagination. And when you create it in your imagination, you can experience what it would feel like, what it would look like, because we have an unlimited imagination. We can think and create anything in our minds, and we can imagine what it would be like. And then when you build that vision in your imagination, your central nervous system can't differentiate between the real world and your imagination. Ask anyone that's had a dream that they've woke up and thought it was as real could be. And it was a dream, but at the time they felt like it was real. That's because their central nervous system is responding to the dream, just in the same way that you can respond to your imagination. And when you have that imagination, you can do certain things, which is when you learn to use this power tool of manifestation, visualization properly, using the step-by-step process that doesn't miss any of the steps that Mark Passio explains, then you can actually start to get real results all of the time. And it means that you're not missing, like I was back when I read The Secret, which was, hey, you pull this, like the lighter, it's like you're pulling the clicker down and nothing was happening. And it was because I was only getting some of the formula. What was missing out the book was what Mark describes. You must take action. And what I think was happening is you had a whole bunch of people out there that were looking at it going, hey, this seems nonsense and we can shoot it down, because if you don't do anything but think and believe that it's going to happen without any action, this is basically a lot of garbage. And yeah, you could agree with that. You could definitely see their point of view. And on the other side of it, you've got people that are starting to believe it, and maybe they're spotting the things that they can take action in, and they've just naturally and intuitively took that action. The likes of Oprah, Jim Carrey, Arnold Palmer, Muhammad Ali, all these people had visualizations and thought they were great and believed that they could do it, including Tiger Woods and many, many other famous people that have had amazing and outstanding results. And the process is quite simple when you break it down. They had a thought that they could create a new outcome for themselves, and then took action to get that result, and then constantly done it and constantly done it and constantly done it. And this gets me back to the point about constantly doing it, because when you want to manifest something in your life, you need to have that vision in your mind regularly, frequently, and consistently. When I do my coaching, when I do my coaching, I explain that the lack of consistency is the killer of your dreams. It's the silent killer. Because when you get around people that say, hey, just take it easy, just back off, just do it later on, what they're doing is they're creating an environment, an incubator for inconsistency. And that inconsistency is the thing that will destroy your dreams, because you lose your vision, you lose focus, you lose momentum, and it starts to show up in your results. And there is nothing, and I mean nothing, that will make you feel worse and more frustrated and more annoyed than not getting a result, wanting it and not getting it. And you end up either becoming extremely frustrated, feeling like you're hitting your head off a brick wall, or you end up throwing the towel in and just giving up and saying, what's the point? And if that's you and that sounds familiar, then I've got news for you. You can switch it up. Because if you do the visualization properly and you implement it into your life consistently, and you add consistency, multiply it with action. So visualization properly, action and consistency. Now you're on the path. And one of the things that we're doing just now this week, last week we started the Mount Mindset crew, or the OG Mount Mindset crew are in their second week of the morning mindset visualization. So we are doing a call at 6 a.m. each morning. The call is getting everybody on after they wake up, but before they get onto social media, they're in the perfect state. I guide you through exactly how to get into the ideal trance-like state to be able to absorb the information, to build your visualization and create the vision that you want, and then show you how to get there and apply it. And because the call's every day, guess what you've got? Consistency. Your vision's always in your mind. You've got group accountability, group coaching. You've got group problem solving. You've got high energy, and it's at the start of the day. The results are fascinating, and it's quick, speed, at pace. The results are off the chart. Guys are coming in and reporting things with like, I don't know how this thing works, but it's spooky. And it isn't spooky. What you're doing is exactly what all the occultists have kept hidden, and what Rhonda Byrne attempted to explain, but missed a few parts out, which is there is a code that you can crack in this formula that will get you results. But you are going to need to do more action and more work than what the secret told you to do. And that's what Mark Passio was saying. But the difficulty with guys that are extremely good like Mark Passio is they're great at information. So you had the secret, which is giving you an instruction that was partial and didn't have the full instructions. And you had Mark Passio giving you an outstanding explanation on what was going on. But you didn't have what you really needed, which is, what's the instruction manual on how I do it? So when I was speaking to the Mount Mindset crew and the coaching call on the Sunday night, I says, listen, here's my idea. I know what the secret was about because I'd had some experience with it. I'd read the book. I'd understood the people had massive success, and I'd spoke firsthand to people that couldn't seem to get it working. So it seemed that there was something missing. And over the course of time, because one of my passions is to figure out how things work, I like to take part of things and figure them out and then put them back together. I came across this exocculted, esoteric knowledge and this experience from the secret. I says, this is what's required. We need an actual clear instruction on how to implement these three things. And they are how to visualize properly, how to make sure you take action, and then encompass them in consistency. And that's the framework that we're doing. We're teaching that to the Mount Mindset crew. So that's what we're up to. I thought this would be a great episode to give you some insight in exactly what we're doing and the background of where it came from, my own personal experiences and how it works, and explain how we're laying this out so people can actually get the tools to get the life and result that they want and not feel frustrated that it's like that lighter that lights every now and again. And when it lights, it's amazing, but it's entirely infuriating when you click it and it doesn't work. So we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep pushing on. If you like the idea of this and you want to get involved, come and visit my website, check out the show notes, have a look at the links. I'll be posting on social media about what we're up to. So there'll be short clips. Feel free to share them around. If there's someone out there that needs to hear this, send them this video. This is a video that I wish someone would have sent me 17 years ago. I'm going to put a link for the Mark Passio video and The Secret. Take a look into it. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you've read the book. If you've heard of Mark Passio before, I'd love to hear about it. I mean, his videos, I've watched quite a few of his fairly lengthy seminars, and they're completely fascinating and grip you. So I personally believe that there's more here. I don't believe that we can wash it and put it aside as pseudoscience. I think that there's people getting results. I think that if we can get the format, we can make it happen. And if you want a better life, then the best place to do and come and see how this works is in the Mount Mindset crew, in the Mount Mindset community. Remember, later on this month, we're doing the hill climb where we meet up. So there'll be the last Sunday of the month. If you want to get involved, hit us up. Check the show notes for the website and the videos, and stand by for more. And if you want to get involved in the calls, hit the link on my website and let us know. But from me this week, that's a wrap.